uwanja wa Kwale. Kwanza nataka niwapongeze wananchi wa Kwale na wananchi wa taifa letu tunalolipenda Kenya kwa kutukaribisha katika sherehe hii ya Mashujaa 2024 hapa Kwale. Nataka nimpongeze viongozi wote waliofika hapa. Nataka nimpongeze pia niwapongeze pia viongozi wote wa Kwale hii wakiongozwa na mama gavana Fatuma Achane. Kama kulikuwa na tafsiri yoyote kwamba mama Muislamu anaweza kuwa kiongozi na gavana, sasa hiyo tafsiri inaondoka kwa sababu Fatuma Achane ndio gavana wetu wa Kwale. We can now confirm without a doubt that women leadership has a firm place in the Republic of Kenya. Kila leo asubuhi tumekuwa na jambo la kihistoria Kenya. Kwa mara ya kwanza katika taifa letu mwanajeshi mama kuongoza sherehe hii. Kanali Heri Mwangani ndio mama hapo. Pigia makofi jamani. Nilisha tena kwamba mama anaweza kufanya kazi zote. That is why we, the people of Kenya, are proud to defend us for our freedom and aspire to become and remain free and sovereign. These were the foremost attitudes of the first generation of freedom fighters who faced the monster of imperial domination with unlimited courage and commitment to prevail, even if it cost them everything, including their very lives. From them, we have a fine model that has inspired generations of selfless patriots and continues to inspire us today as we do our part in nation building. From them, we have learned that to be free, we must be united as one family that draws its strength from the unique constitution of its diverse members, and that we must see each other as equals, treat each other justly, and leave no one behind. We, the people of Kenya and others, just like our ancestors, we have what it takes, including the values, principles, and commitments that define this job to break free of oppression, humiliation, poverty, and indignity. We know this because for our nation to be free, brave men and women, young and old, from every community and every region, struggled with exemplary determination until Kenya was free. We know this because everywhere you go in Kenya, the efforts of heroism, histories of sacrifice, and legacies of historic struggle by ordinary people who achieve extraordinarily and endure today. Our heroes did not came from one village or to speak one language. Our heroes are numerous and diverse, united by a principled commitment to confront an unjust, exclusive, and oppressive system in pursuit of a noble vision of national liberation. This unity of purpose motivated an icon of courage and a continued movement, and a generation of families from every part of Kenya devolution. In colonialism, Megatacheli Wayanga did not seek to free her village or region from occupation by the community. Instead, she resisted the structures and institutions of a system of exploitation and tyranny in the knowledge that the victim would free our whole nation. This is the same spirit embraced by our freedom fighters such as Otemio Anamantele and Nora Ligi from Kisi. Wanamene Masinde in Bungoma, Oito Paul Akwet, and Yuko Kiti Amilio in Kisumu. Igogi Teresa Kayami in Meru. Kalon Ateka Faru in Makweli, and many others. The great lesson that has been passed down to us from their era, and which we must faithfully transmit clearly and boldly to the future generations, is that every citizen of Kenya is a full and equal member of our political community and entitled to make a contribution to nation building and with an undeniable right to a full, just, and fair share of all the benefits that accrue from our development. No proposition to discriminate or to unjustly diminish one by another right is admissible anywhere. Therefore, any formula seeking to exclude, annihilate, or disenfranchise any person, group of community, or any reason, it is repugnant to the very essence of our nation. We are one people, and Kenya is one united, indivisible, and sovereign nation. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom came at a great cost and was won against overwhelming odds. It called for a capacity to prepare to make sacrifice and willingness to pay the ultimate price. We remember them and appreciate their sacrifices. We recognize their achievements and acknowledge that the nation we have today, with its past history and future prospects, is a legacy of their work, commitment, and life. Every day, the Constitution commands us to honor our freedom fighters, who struggle heroically to bring freedom and justice to our land by living up to the freedom of Shujaa in the way we create one another, but through our obligations and benefits of our nation. Article 10 of the Constitution shows us how to be Shujaa in our own way, day by day, every day. The freedom fighters were inspired by an enduring universal principles and values which have transcended generations and lead us today. Unity, sharing, integrity, courage, determination, and patriotism are our sources of strength in the face of difficulties and danger. The struggle for freedom is about welcoming an everlasting mission to humanity, because in freedom lies the opportunity to achieve peace and democracy, health and wealth, justice and dignity, equality and inclusion, as well as unity in the pursuit of prosperity individually and collectively. Freedom is the key that opens the door to sustainable progress in every sector. That is why today we are a modern, competitive economy and a developed democratic society. Our freedom has allowed us the space to grow and perfect our nation, sustaining the spirit of freedom and overthrow the monopoly of liberation movement into a dynamic, pluralistic society where competition makes us stronger. is the attitude of economic sustainable development. There is no struggle of our time, but focus on achieving this through inclusive growth. The Mujahid of our era also urgent mobilization to create permanent jobs, reduce poverty and inequality, and protect our environment. The dedication we bring to these tasks will determine how well we uphold the legacy of the community, Wamamenza, and other people. This part is abundantly clear to us. The persistent unemployment, severe poverty, increasing inequality, and general growth and development are not only undesirable, but are also an unacceptable derivation of the legacy of our Mashujaa and the spirit of our intergenerational commitment to freedom. Recognizing this, the government formulated a plan aimed at enhancing the dignity and security, creating wealth and farming opportunities by increasing representative infrastructure development, extension service delivery, and productivity of key strategic sectors. The Portugal transformation agenda is an economic freedom charter, which mobilizes unprecedented levels of investment into the most impactful sectors, in providing essential public services inclusively and affordably. Multiply income and create millions of new good jobs for our many well-educated and highly skilled young people. The priority sectors identified as the strategic pillars of the Portugal economic transformation agenda have enabled us to galvanize the national development agenda by mobilizing local and foreign investment, significantly improving the reach and efficiency and impact services and creating jobs at a sustained incremental rate. We are driving agricultural transformation through major interventions across all value chains, including fisheries and agriculture, horticulture and food, livestock, beekeeping and medicinal development. Investments have been made to boost production and supply of quality inputs, provide technical services, reduce post-harvest losses, and maximize returns for producers. These efforts are aimed to increase economies of scale through aggregation, agro-processing, value addition, and exports. Let me announce to farmers across Kenya that we have just concluded the process of procuring the next consignments of fertilizer and assure them that the fertilizer that we have will continue to remain at 2,500 as in committed ourselves, whether it is tea, whether it is coffee, whether it is maize, whether it is wheat, whether it is sugarcane. We will make sure that prices of fertilizer will balance, because we have seen its impact on margins to productivity in Kenya and the quality of the cost of living as a result of the reduction of food prices because of the enhanced supply. Fellow citizens, in the digital economy, we have invested in developing digital and ICT hubs in all worlds and expanding last-mile connectivity across the country, reaching areas prevalently considered remote and underserved. I must congratulate members of Parliament across Kenya for being partners with us in this effort, and I want to congratulate all our members of Parliament to front row and to prioritize the construction of ICT hubs across Kenya so that we can create digital opportunities for our young people. Because these efforts have enabled young digital creators and entrepreneurs and developers to access opportunities just locally, but also globally. We have also supported our Mama the Coca-Cola brands, small-scale traders, construction workers, and others working in the informal and hazardous economy by investing financially additional $150 million annual facilities to micro, small, and medium enterprises to complement our efforts in making sure that we attend to the people lower in the country. To achieve universal health coverage, we have transformed the traditional healthcare to another more tenants access, promoting and preventive services in addition to community service. First, under an all-inclusive social health framework, and also through programs like Africa Nationality, which has onboarded over 100,000 community health promoters who provide healthcare directly to people in their homes. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks the conclusion of our Young Week, launched last Monday to celebrate the achievement of our affordable housing program. Throughout the week, we showcase significant progress in advancing the establishment of ambitious agenda, which aims to transform lives and livelihoods by providing affordable, decent homes for millions of Kenyans. On this Mashujaa Day, we recognize key initiatives such as the Kenya Urban Resilient Project, the Kenya Performance Improvement Project, and the National Urban Resilient Program, otherwise known as NIPOA. Under our bottom-up transformation agenda, we are committed to striking a major blow for the freedom of travel over time by eradicating the shame of hunger to the land of plenty, taking decisive measures to significantly reduce poverty, providing all Kenyans with high-quality health care and enhancing dignity, well-being, and standards of living for everyone. The affordable housing program is central to these efforts, with a target of delivering 200,000 homes annually to meet the growing demands of our people. This initiative aims to tackle the deficits that have led many Kenyans living in insecure, unsanitary, and poorly constructed dwellings, and also fostering the growth of sustainable communities and generating jobs and opportunities across many other sectors. We all know that the future is urban. 60% of our population, not just in Kenya, but globally, will be living in urban areas. That is not achieving Kenya. That is not going to happen. But we can make a choice as to what kind of living, what kind of settlements, it is 60% of our citizens who will be living in urban areas, how they will live. Either they will live in slums, or they will live in distant dwellings. These are our choices, and the choice of our generation to make sure that when we undergo this process, which is inevitable, and we have communities that are urban, they will be living in decent livelihoods. The progress so far is remarkable. 124,000 housing units are different stages of completion across 75 sites in 37 counties. This project involves also for the military police and correctional services. I am happy that the students are participating in designing student accommodation, and congratulations to the students who came, 60 of you who have participated in that process. Here in Baraka County, I am also happy that the Matuga Affordable Housing Project is underway, creating daily employment for over 200 workers. Similarly, the Diani White House Project is under construction and it is also generating more jobs and more opportunities. For Miami, a key platform in the program exemplifies our commitment to economic empowerment and improving Kenya's quality of life. This online portal aggregates housing demand with over 547 registered users, of whom 52,000 are collectively saved more than 2.3 billion was home ownership. These numbers represent real individuals striving to achieve their home ownership dreams. For example, Joseph Kyle from Rui, who began saving from home and has now accumulated an impressive $895,000, more than half the cost of $1 million. Similarly, Jemima Benahoke, a businesswoman living with disability in Nairobi, has saved $650,000, steadily and surely bringing herself closer to home ownership. Jane Kumi of China, a widow and a mother of two from Nakuru, will soon move from her rented unit, which was $1,500 to her own one-bedroom home after patiently and determination saving money. Likewise, Jane Kagami, a 44-year-old Zokani assistant and a father of four, is wearing a nearly condition for his savings to move into his own house. These stories illustrate how the affordable program is empowering ordinary citizens, affirming their dignity and opening pathways for financial independence. In December this year, we will achieve a major milestone by handing over 1,080 new skilled units at the Nakuru Meteorological Society in Nairobi, with located price at $8,200 a month. This is consistent today. Take the amount, but live in a slum. Rents that are not qualified them to own the very finance. The revolutionary direction of this milestone is that finally, mortgages will no longer be the vocabulary of a field, but an accessible, feasible, and convenient instrument for bottom-up empowerment, making home ownership affordable and reliable and clean. The program benefits extend beyond housing. So far, the affordable housing program has yielded over 160,000 jobs for the housing value chain, while the industry remains predominantly male. We are now moving to reduce civil participation to 30%, up from the current 20%. Our collaboration with the human sector has demonstrated the affordable housing program has significant potential to transform global manufacturing. In inquiry, over 200 artisans are providing essential services and medical science, fabricating components such as doors, windows, and entertainment. The success of the body of our corporations and artisans has strengthened our commitment to support global businesses. You have the number of money, the number of companies that are now with us. To facilitate this fund, the government has allocated $4.4 billion specifically for payments to MSMEs supplying goods and services under this program. I will especially proud to witness the signing of the $720 million program allotted to Soweto Highlands Communicators and New Workers Association in Kibra, Thursday, 11 and 12 this morning. This partnership will greatly enhance the business prospects of these professional associations, now recognized as bona fide affordable housing program suppliers. Ladies and gentlemen, on this day, it is important for us to remember that the objective of the freedom struggle was for the citizens of Kenya to have full rights and opportunities to live in dignity and achieve a high standard of living, security, and development. Lastly, to develop affordable housing program, therefore, we must at the same time move quickly to complement it with initiatives that promote health and well-being and secure work and livelihoods. Thus, healthcare remains a priority under our long-term transformation agenda. We are advancing the scope of the universal health in every Kenyan, access to quality, regularity, equity, and emergency services. Through the social health insurance fund, citizens will contribute and access comprehensive healthcare benefits. And those who are categorized as being able to pay, the government of Kenya is step in and pay. The value for money in this scheme will be undeniable once the migration of the national health insurance fund is completed and the fund is fully operational. As of the beginning of this month, 12.9 million Kenyans were registered with the social health authority, and all public health institutions, and alongside 50% of private facilities were already enrolled to provide services. I urge private hospitals to expedite the contracting process to enable us to complete the final rollout of the universal health package. To accelerate this rollout, the government of Kenya has released 3 billion shillings to settle outstanding payments to hospitals and other service providers. I know it has been my concern for hospitals that are owed by the government child money. I want to give them my assurance that from next week, we have already released the money and we go into settling some of the debts that have held back their services under our reform. Ladies and gentlemen, the time of doubt and anxiety is slowly but surely getting to my life. And the space of criticism, skepticism, and pessimism is over. Real change ushers us into unfamiliar places. Transformative change overturns all assumptions and unlocks unprecedented possibilities. Every step into the future takes a measure of courage, and the comfort of the familiar and without hesitation to hesitate over what's right. We have been here before, enemies. Time is not enough. Many Kenyans are anxious about the prospects of the freedom of travel and doubted the capacity of our human rights to defeat the formidable power of the Kenyan. Some are afraid that the race of an uncertain future, even an independent nation, in contrast with the very real, even an desire for president, even an oppressive economy. Later, when challenging the field party monopoly, many worry that embracing democratic pluralism by decentralized government and being to state collapse. Some will say, as the truth and the faith in humanity dispensation, fearing that the revolution would fragment the nation and have strong checks and balances by federal and public and government. Despite these concerns, here we are, stronger than ever, facing the future with greater confidence and building a strong nation that is respected for its positive contribution, not just at home, not just regionally, but across the world. Independence, democratic democracy, and our progressive constitution have made Kenya stronger, enabling our country to move forward and upwards, even in the face of unprecedented challenges. What we have learned from Kenya's history of economic this: we will not allow the fear of change to imprison us in the past, and we must have greater faith in our collective capacity to achieve inclusive transformation and actually progress that leaves no one behind. I call on all Kenyans connected to the dream of building us on the covenant of I am aware that during this transition period, employees of the former National College of the Department will be managed in accordance with the provisions of the Social Health Insurance Act of 2023. I want to assure all the appointments and those outstanding under our new law that no one will lose their jobs. And that I appreciate their dedication and service during this transition. We will make sure that everybody who has served in the former outfit is transitioned into the current outfit. We have implemented strong institutional and strategic measures to extend the impact of universal health by developing the biomedical, pharmaceutical, and medical supplies production industries. The mass healthcare innovation and insurance facility to medical supplies, government area is improving the overall supply chain, starting with capacity upgrades and the establishment of general medical supply facilities in the distribution centers in Kisumu, in Mabasi, and in Mombasa. Ladies and gentlemen, there is what we say, Garagara and Kubwa Ahiwari Mutala is an understated image of the growing health by our blue economy. Because of the Indian Ocean, Waikaki and also region as a whole are bound with transformative opportunities over an immense magnitude. At present, the blue economy contributes 20 billion to the economic annually and is expected to increase to over 80 billion in 5 years. This transformation will create thousands of jobs and stimulate the digital economy through increased investment in the industries, enhanced manufacturing, and expanded overall economic activity. To begin with, we are investing potentially 2.7 billion in the construction of digital sites and markets, including the four storage facilities across the country, with 1.2 billion allocated specifically to the coast region. Additionally, we are releasing 1.7 billion in grants to support 612 fishing cooperatives and groups in the region. I must commend the business to Michael and everyone for an excellent job that they are doing. The Shimon Force, Kenya's first dedicated fish store, is now 82% complete. I came to start months ago, and I'm very happy with the once finished, it will boost the fishing industry by increasing the handling capacity by 50,000 metric tons of fish annually, thereby promoting value addition for both domestic and export markets. To promote and enhance capacity and manufacturing capacity, government is investing 2.4 billion in 1.4 billion allocated specifically for the coast region in the development of the National Manufacturing Resource and Training Center in Shimoni, here in the Parliament. This center will serve as a catalyst for the growth of manufacturing and for global manufacturing. It will function as a marine fishing and multiplication center, facilitate research and innovation development, and offer training for fish farmers and students. We increase fish production and facilitate the transition of fish support to deep water and exclusive economic zone fishing. The government will procure and distribute 153 fishing boats to local communities. In addition, we will now acquire the DTC fishing vessels for join us and drive up the scale of these initiatives to provide opportunities for Canada to take part in achieving together, we are building a brighter future where every Canadian has the opportunity to thrive and bringing the people of Canada over time. Let us remember the example of our father Australia, and we inspire let us think about that, the national vision and inclusion, and you have the vision of the let us remember that without unity, our freedom and our future will be another present. Together, we are unstoppable in pursuit of our aspirations and immovable in the face of any challenge. By embodying, championing, and defending our national values and principles of government every day, we will be able to live up to the fundamental legacy of democratic governance and other men and women who live, train, practice, follow, and build a nation that present and future generations will be proud. I am encouraged by the president, diligence, and loyalty with which Canadians follow life and undertaking fighting crime and terrorism, defending traditions and opportunities, treating the sick, feeding the nation, teaching our children, and serving the needs of underprivileged citizens. Do you know, I convey the gratitude and appreciation of all Canadians. It is in this day that we will the fact that we must do that every day doesn't make them any less. Yeah, we organize things in extraordinary ways. Therefore, when our population, let us apply the zero because that is our greatest mission. Ini
Tunaendaje sisi tukimaliza hapa sisi unapangaje?
Nani mimi ashapeleka ni mchezo gari likoja hapo nje ya gate. Hata zenga sana nje.
Alafu utaipata
Nairobi tuelekea hapo. Kama chumani hanga gari gari sana niambie nyume nimechapa.
Haibali sana kufikia bado. Ndio baki wiki moja.
Kama yote kuna